Let's go Browns! What if I told you that Kevin Stefanski's days in Cleveland might be numbered, and that a list of serious, innovative names is already being whispered behind closed doors to replace him? We're not talking rumors, we're talking real options with real firepower, from Super Bowl champions to budding offensive geniuses. And here's the twist. One of them might be a former rival, one might already be calling plays right there, and another, a familiar face who once led this very team before becoming a legend elsewhere. If you care about the future of this franchise, if you're tired of boring plays, predictable losses, and being the talk of the AFC North, then you need to hear every name on this list. Because one of them might be the one to finally turn the tide. Like it if you've ever yelled at your TV during a Stefanski third and long draw. And comment right now, if you could fire Stefanski today, who would you hire? Well, let's get right to it. So, who will replace Stefanski? Let's take a look at the names already circling like vultures. Cliff Kingsbury. That's right. The former Arizona Cardinals head coach and current offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders. Kingsbury helped Jaden Daniels win the NFC title. He's a former head coach and has proven he can elevate young quarterbacks. Imagine what he could do in Cleveland with talents like Shader Sanders or Dylan Gabriel. Kingsbury's offense has demonstrated creativity, rhythm, and results, something Cleveland sorely needs right now. Then there's Joe Brady, Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator. His resume is screaming for a shot at a head coaching gig. Brady's unit is putting up nearly 28 points a game this season, with Josh Allen looking sharp and James Cook evolving into a real weapon. With Cleveland's offense floundering at the bottom of the league, Brady feels like the shot of adrenaline this franchise needs. Importantly, hiring an offensive mind makes sense only if Jim Schwartz is retained as defensive coordinator, and why wouldn't he be? Schwartz has done incredible work with this defense. If Stefanski is let go mid-season, Schwartz is the most logical interim head coach. But long-term, Brady's offensive vision might just be the answer. Here's where it gets even juicier. Bill Belichick. Yes, that Bill Belichick. He's currently coaching at North Carolina and struggling, sure. But Belichick's Cleveland roots are deep. He led the Browns from 1991 to 1995. The moment we let him go, he went on to build a dynasty in New England with 6 Super Bowl titles. It's true that since Brady left, Belichick's legacy has taken some hits, and he's now in his 70s with some off-field distractions. But what a story it would be, a legendary coach returns to finish what he started. Is that a fantasy or a real option? Would the Browns make that kind of high-risk, high-reward move? The most shocking name on this list might be John Harbaugh. It sounds wild. Harbaugh has been a fixture in Baltimore for over a decade, but rumors are swirling about his job security. The Ravens are in chaos, and some in the organization are apparently ready to move on. If he's cut loose, would Cleveland even consider hiring a division rival? Say what you want about Harbaugh, but he's one of the most successful and respected coaches in the NFL. Before Lamar Jackson's arrival, Harbaugh's teams were inconsistent, multiple 8-8 and even a 5-11 season in there. But with the right talent, he's shown he can take teams deep into the playoffs. If Baltimore lets him go, would Browns fans be open to welcoming him as our own? And how about a curveball? John Gruden. Currently at Barstool Sports, the former Raiders and Bucs head coach still has that football spark in him. Sure, his last stint in the NFL ended in controversy, but no one questions the man's football IQ and passion for the game. He lives for XS and OS. Gruden as head coach would bring massive attention to Cleveland, not all of it good, but it would be electric. He's intense, animated, and probably itching for another shot. Could his fire jumpstart the Browns' offense? Then there are the second-tier candidates, the coordinators and college coaches bubbling under the radar. Matt Nagy is back with the Chiefs and could be intriguing given his prior head coaching experience and Kansas City's offensive system. Josh Grizzard, currently coordinating the Buccaneers offense, has revitalized Baker Mayfield into an MVP candidate. That alone might intrigue Browns fans who feel Stefanski mishandled Baker. Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame and Dan Lanning from Oregon are high-energy college coaches who might make the jump to the NFL. Lanning, notably, has worked with Dylan Gabriel, potentially offering continuity if Gabriel is the Browns guy going forward. But let's not forget 2 more familiar names, Bill and Brian Callahan. Brian flamed out with the Titans, and while his name gets thrown around, it's not exciting anyone in Cleveland. Bill Callahan, however, could be welcomed back to bolster the offensive line, even if not as head coach. He's not the answer to lead the team, but he could still bring valuable experience and fix an area that's been a glaring weakness. Because this decision might just define the next decade of Browns football. Let's face it, we've seen this franchise cycle through head coaches like clockwork, but this time feels different. There's a top-tier defense already in place. There's a passionate, hungry fan base begging for stability and relevance. There's no more room for experiments. This hire has to be right. So let's break down the remaining realistic options and what they bring to the table. Starting with Matt Nagy. Sure, his time as the Bears head coach ended with criticism, stale offense, quarterback mismanagement, but now, back with the Kansas City Chiefs, he's recharged. Working with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid's system, Nagy's fingerprints are once again all over one of the NFL's most dynamic offenses. Is it a case of someone who's better suited to be a coordinator, or has he learned from past failures and matured into a better coach? If Cleveland is looking for someone with prior HC experience who could immediately command a locker room and elevate the QB play, Nagy's name will absolutely be in the mix. But if we're looking for upside and new energy, college coaches like Marcus Freeman or Dan Lanning become fascinating. Freeman's success at Notre Dame is more about culture than scheme. He's a motivator, a player's coach, and has already shown he can recruit and lead on a big stage. That kind of leadership might be exactly what the Browns need, someone who can unify a locker room and restore belief. Dan Lanning, on the other hand, is more of a tactician. What he's built at Oregon, especially with QBs like Dylan Gabriel, has caught NFL attention. Lanning has energy, presence, and he knows how to develop young talent. If Cleveland wants to build something long-term, not just plug holes, Lanning is the type of coach that could bring sustained success if he's ready for the NFL jump. Now let's talk about Josh Grizzard. He might not be a household name, but that could change fast. The Buccaneers' offense has been quietly explosive this season. Baker Mayfield is thriving. That's not a coincidence. Under Grizzard's guidance, Tampa Bay has built a scheme that emphasizes quick reads, play action, and smart utilization of their weapons. It's modern, it's adaptable, and it's everything Cleveland's offense has lacked. Grizzard is young, hungry, and schematically sharp. If the Browns want to strike gold with the next offensive guru, he's worth a long look. And speaking of familiar names, it's time to get real about Bill Callahan. Browns fans know what he means to this organization. The offensive line was never better than under his watch. While he's not a head coach candidate, imagine the next HC walking into Cleveland and having Callahan back on staff, stabilizing the trenches, mentoring younger coaches, and helping build a physical offensive identity. That's not just smart, it's necessary. Callahan shouldn't be ignored in this process, even if he's not holding the top job. But this conversation, ultimately, isn't just about names, it's about direction. Is this team ready to hand over the reins to a young, creative offensive mind? Or does it need a stabilizer, a proven veteran who can manage egos, organize the chaos, and make every Sunday feel professional again? If Belichick or Harbaugh become available, that changes the entire outlook. You're not just hiring a coach, you're installing a system, an identity, a brand of football that commands national respect. You don't get that opportunity often. You don't pass on it lightly. What happens on Sunday against Miami will be a turning point. If Cleveland wins, and the offense shows life, maybe Stefanski buys a little more time. But if they lose, especially if it's another 13-point effort, the writing's on the wall. Fans are done waiting. They want results. They want creativity. They want a coach who doesn't need to grow into the job. They want someone who's ready now. And if you're ownership, you've got to see the urgency. Jim Schwartz has the defense humming. The roster, while not perfect, has talent. The moment is there. This isn't a complete rebuild. This is a team that just needs the right leadership to unlock its ceiling. So make the move. Make it now. Don't let the season spiral beyond repair while holding onto a head coach who clearly has lost the thread. Cleveland is a proud football city. The fans show up in the snow, in the losses, through the pain. They deserve more than broken records and lifeless Sundays. They deserve an offense that makes sense, that competes,